Hey you guys, so I am back with a brand new video, and I know you guys are aware that Maybelline came out with a brand new eyeshadow palette, which I actually was going to get my hands on it because when I saw the eyeshadow palette, I was like, ooh, girl, that's your kind of eyeshadow palette, those warm colors. But I was just looking at the palette and I was like, ooh, you may have a few colors in your collection within that palette already, so maybe you don't need to get it. But you guys know I love to add new warm tone eyeshadows into my collection when they hit the market. But for some reason, something told me to just kind of like hold off on this eyeshadow palette. The eyeshadow palette, it's called Maybelline Lemonade Craze eyeshadow palette. I do have it pulled up on my phone because I have an actual dupe to the eyeshadow palette I'm going to show you guys first. But again, it's the Maybelline Lemonade Craze eyeshadow palette. I know they had it. You can pre-order it on Amazon for like $10, but you can get it on Ulta for $13.99. So for the price point, I was like, that's pretty high for a Maybelline eyeshadow palette. And I'm only saying that because anytime I've tried their eyeshadow palettes in the past, I have not been a fan at all. I love their face products, I love their lip products, but for some reason when it comes to the eyeshadow palettes, I just can't seem to get on board, besides the Shayla City Mini palette. So for that price point, I'm like, okay, like if they were really good at eyeshadows, I can justify the $13.99, but because they're kind of like a miss to me in that department, I'm like, maybe $10 would be suffice for your eyeshadow palette, because even Wet n Wild eyeshadow palettes are cheaper and they're better, just being honest. So the dupe that I found in my collection is actually one by ColourPop, which is their Yes Please eyeshadow palette. Here is what it looks like. I ordered this last year when it first came out because again the color scheme pretty much caught my attention. And here is the inside of the palette. I'm actually going to insert a picture of the Maybelline palette on my screen so you guys can see what that looked like compared to the ColourPop palette. So when I saw the one from Maybelline, I pretty much just kind of like pulled this one out of my collection because I'm like, hold up, some of these colors I have in my collection already. And when I saw this palette, I was like, there are some actual shades in here that's similar to the one by Maybelline. I want to say there's probably 3 colors in the Maybelline palette that I don't have within this palette, but honestly you can find those other 3 colors in maybe another palette that you may have in your collection. But for the most part, I do have majority of the actual colors in this eyeshadow palette. I do have this eyeshadow palette on my eyes today. You guys, this palette is a really good palette. It's super pigmented and the colors blend out really nicely. I will be honest and say the only color that gives me a hard time is the yellow color, which is called French Kiss. That color for some reason is the only color that gives me a hard time, that I don't really care for. But besides that, every other color in this eyeshadow palette is really pigmented, blend out really nicely, and it's really pigmented, so keep that in mind. So I'm just going to kind of pick out the colors that I thought was pretty similar within the actual eyeshadow palette. So the first one is called Sherbet, which is from the Maybelline palette. And the one that I thought was the actual dupe in my ColourPop one is this one right here called Big Cocktails. I'm just going to do some quick swatches for you guys. So to me, that was the one that was the dupe to the Maybelline Sherbet color. And here is the swatch for that one right here on my hand. I'm just going to try to like breeze through as fast as possible. The next dupe that I saw was the one called Ice Pop, which is like that like burgundy reddish fruit punch color. For the one in my palette, that one is called Butter Cake, which is right here. I'm just going to swatch that one. And here is the swatch right here on my hand. Now these do crumble a little bit, but at the same time they're still really pigmented, so keep that in mind. And then the next color that I thought was similar, the one in Maybelline is called Old Fashioned. The one in the ColourPop palette is called Mischief. Is this like dark brown color. Just gonna swatch that one. That one is super pigmented. I love that brown color in this eyeshadow palette. It's amazing. And then the next color that I thought was a dupe, the one in the Maybelline palette is called Sunnies, and then the one in my ColourPop palette is called Bling, which is this color in the corner. Just gonna swatch that one as well. It's like a white color. And here it is, and it even shows up against my skin tone, so that's when you know it's a really good, you know, quality eyeshadow palette. The next one is Lemonade Craze. I think that's the color that pretty much sold the palette, was Lemonade Craze, Coral Punch, and Ice Pop. Those three pretty much sold the eyeshadow palette. But for me, my yellow is called French Kiss, which is right here. And I told you guys that's the one color that I don't really care for, but here is French Kiss on my hand. And then the next color that's the dupe in my palette, the one in Maybelline is called Coral Punch. And then the one that I thought was a dupe to that one was this one right here called Champs. It's this like lighter orangey color. And let me swatch Champs for you. I'm running out of space on my hand. And here is Champs. And then going back into the Maybelline one, the other dupe that I have, this one is called Sugar Coated. It's like a bronzy reddish burgundy-ish color. It's kind of hard to tell from the picture, but anyways, the one that I said was the dupe for me, it's this one over here called GNO, which is this color right here. I'm just gonna swatch this for you guys. It's not the perfect dupe, but it's the closest one, which is right here. And then going back into the Maybelline palette, the other color, it's called Main Squeeze, which is like a golden color. And of course I have one right here. This one is called Spoiled, which is right here. Let me swatch Spoiled for you guys. And then here is Spoiled right here. And then the last color that's a dupe from the Maybelline palette is called Sweet Tea. It's like a brownish, like a lighter brown. And then for me, in my palette, it's called Chauffeur, which is right here. And let me swatch Chauffeur for you guys, which is right here. As you guys can see, I do have some really close colors from the Maybelline palette in my ColourPop eyeshadow palette. If you guys have used ColourPop eyeshadows before, you know they have really good quality eyeshadows. Now the colors that I couldn't find a dupe for in this palette was Citrus, Berry Ice, and Strawberry Lemonade. I couldn't find a color in this palette to like match it, but you guys, for the most part, the other colors are pretty much found in this eyeshadow palette. And another reason why I said I don't need this palette is because, you guys, when I bought this palette, I used it once for like makeup tutorial, and then I haven't used it since, besides today being the second time that I used it. So I'm like, Saida, you haven't used this palette since last year. You're gonna add another palette to your collection just because that you probably won't even use after you film the video. So just goes to show you that you don't have to keep buying every single launch that hits the market, because you guys, let's be realistic, how many times do we pick up those palettes again, you know, after we do it for a video or after we do it because everyone says to buy it? You know, we really don't. So once I saw that this was an actual dupe to it, I definitely knew I did not need to buy the one from Maybelline, because I pretty much have those same colors right here in this one eyeshadow palette. The one from ColourPop costs, I want to say it costs $16. I did go on their website and they still have this palette on their website. So if you wanted to get your hands on the Maybelline one, but you know, like for the quality as far as like swatches that I saw, I wasn't too impressed. So I just kind of feel like they're pretty much similar in price. You're going to pay a little bit more for the ColourPop one, but I can definitely guarantee that the pigmentation and the quality is going to be there compared to the one from Maybelline, from what I've saw people you know, like demo or like review or swatch. So yeah, this is definitely a good dupe to that one. And again, I haven't used it since last year, so I don't need to add the one from Maybelline to my collection. So yeah, you guys, hope you guys found this video helpful. Again, here are these swatches on my arm. I do have the eyeshadow look on my eyes today, and I also used the ColourPop highlighter palette that went with the collection. This one was called Give Me More, that went with the collection. And it's so funny because when I popped this highlighter palette open, I was like, ooh, this color right here That one reminded me of the one called Strawberry Lemonade in the Maybelline palette. Even though it's like a highlighter, it really reminded me of that color. And then the one called Full Service down here, that one reminded me of the color called Citrus in the Maybelline palette. So I have two highlighter colors here that are similar to the one from the Maybelline palette, which I thought was pretty cool at the same time. So yeah, I do have on the color called Full Service, and I have the color called Extra, which is this orangey color. I have it on my face today as my highlighter. And I think it's so pretty because when I first used this palette, I was like, I don't like this highlighter palette. But something told me to just pull it out again. Since I pulled out this palette for the video, I was like, let me just use this again. And I do like it. I didn't think I was going to get any use out of this orangey color, but I like it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like always, please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys. Alright, so starting off, we're just going to prime our eyelids using the Lorac Behind the Scenes eyeshadow primer, which is this right here. Alright, and then here is the eyeshadow palette. Diving into the palette, I'm just going to set my lid using this color right here called Bling. Alright, and then diving in for our crease color, I'm just going to use this brown color called Chauffeur and pop that into my crease. Alright, and then we're just going to dive into this like reddish color right here called Butter Cake and just pop it into our crease as well. Alright, for my lid color, I'm just going to take this pretty color right here called Full Zip and just pop that on my lid. I'm just going to take the color called Louis right here and just pop that into my crease. And then we're just going to take Mischief for our outer V. And then this golden yellow color called Note to Self. I'm just going to pop that in my inner tear duct. Alright you guys, this is pretty much the completed look for the eyeshadow. I try to keep it really simple, really easy, you know, nothing complicated, but yeah. hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like always, please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.